Welcome back to New Day Northwest. If you've been stuck in a bit of a rut lately, our next guest may be a big help. Jenna Kutcher is a creator and host for the top-rated Gold Digger podcast. Now, she's out with a new book called How Are You Really? And it helps us redefine success so we can chase some bold dreams. How are you? You really? How are you?
I should have known, Amity, when I titled my book that I would get asked it. And the subtitle is Living Your Truth One Answer at a Time. And so I have committed to always answering truthfully. And the only way I can describe this season of life is being stretched thin.
Yeah.
As a mom, as an entrepreneur, as an author, but only stretched thin because I love all of the parts that I'm doing.
I have to say, I loved reading your book so far. In the very first part, the softer, how do you feel your feelings? You say we're asleep too much of our lives. And I think that is true in that sense. So we want to live a happier, more fulfilling life. How do we do that?
Yeah. I think a lot about how we are busier now more than ever. And I feel like a lot of us, if we're really honest, we wake up in the middle of the night and we think, man, I'm doing so many things, but I feel like I'm just missing the point, right?
Yeah.
Like all of these things, it's like, what am I doing this for? Or I thought that life would feel different, or I thought I'd be further by now, or I don't even know who I really am.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting because as a culture, it's like no surprise that we don't hear our own voice when we wake up in the morning and we start scrolling on our phones and we're being shouted at from advertisements and all of these things. It's like very easy for us to forget about our own intuition and our own truth and like what we know to be true for us and who we are.
This one line actually made me feel quite seen. In moments of quiet, we feel discontent, exhausted, frazzled, or even trapped. Something's missing and we just can't put our finger on it. So how do we start? I know that your book focuses on 3 questions to jumpstart this focus and interior look at ourselves. What is the first one?
I mean, honestly, it's as simple as the title says. It's getting honest and quiet enough to ask ourselves, how am I really? Mm-hmm. And I think it's really easy for us to avoid that question, specifically as ambitious people, because we know if we're actually honest and we say, I'm not where I thought I would be, or I'm not happy and I'm faking it, that means we have to do something about it. But I don't know about you, but like actually doing something makes the doing way less scary, less intimidating, and it actually builds up our belief and our confidence in ourselves along the journey.
I agree. I feel like I go in these peaks and valleys because I feel like if I'm actively working towards something, then it helps with the depression or the sadness or the feeling exhausted or not like I'm there enough. So I see that, but I can go in waves sometimes. So I like the next question. What is that next question? You tell me.
Yeah, I would say that it's as simple as, when is the last time you felt joy? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us, like you mentioned earlier, are kind of on this autopilot, right? Like we're doing, and we don't even pause and think of like, when is the last time I laughed with my partner? Or when is the last time I felt fully alive? Or what would my 9-year-old self be sad to know that I no longer do in my life?
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to like, we want to enjoy our lives, but so many of us are pushing the finish line of when we believe we should actually feel that joy. And so we're moving through life in this way of like delayed gratification, where we're delaying it to a point where we're not even enjoying the process.
So what are we going to do about it?
Yes, this is part 3 of my book. What are you going to do about it? And something that I think is really important in today's culture is that we are so obsessed with like before and afters. We want to see these massive transformations. We double tap on things when we see them on social media. But I think that what we've lost in that is really living through and being awake to the messy middle in that progress that maybe isn't seen by others, but that is felt by ourselves. And I think oftentimes we are such a black and white culture that we miss these areas of gray where we know we're building up our confidence in ourselves to actually follow through on something for once. And that's where I think the magic lives, is in that shade of gray where we're actually working towards the life that we want for ourselves.
I think that sometimes with the way we've experienced this pandemic, a lot of people are lonely. Sometimes they're lonely living alone. Sometimes they're lonely in a house full of people. I think loneliness looks different for everyone. And some people are really struggling. So how do you combat that loneliness?
Loneliness isn't just being in isolation. Loneliness is being surrounded and not fully known. And I think the pandemic kind of blew the cap off of this idea of like, we need to be different iterations, different identities of ourselves in different places. It's like, suddenly you are wearing all all the hats under one roof if you're fortunate enough to be able to work from home. And we kind of had to figure out ways to blend all of the different aspects of who we are. And so there's a part in the book where it says, like, in order to be fully known, you have to fully know yourself. And I think that we really have to start with ourselves. There's so many opinions in the self-help and personal development space, but what I think we've lost and what I think makes my book different is that it helps you get to who the person is and where you are at so that you can finally get to where you want to go.